you actually for coming. And I'm going to speak about the subject that most people don't like. But the reality is that we all have to deal with it sometime. And the first thing I would like to say is that there's a definitely different kind of tax system in Greece for the that is happening the last few years. Because of the European regulations, Greece has been obliged to change their tax system very, very fast. And actually, every year we have different kinds of taxes and different laws that have been passed away. The first thing I would like, I'm just going to put some simple things as a start. The first thing is we need to have a tax identification number, which is the AFIMI. Here in Canada, I know that everyone has a social security that goes there, even though now we have a social security, which is called AMCA, but you are not obliged to have it if you're not a citizen of Greece. But an AFIMI, an ID, a tax ID, is obliged. So everyone who has property or has income in Greece is obliged to have and get registered at the tax office. It is a unique number and it's required for all transactions concerning tax and real estate issues. The next topic is the declaration of Greek citizens in Greece and the transfer to non-residents tax office. Many individuals who obtain a tax number is automatically registered to the tax office of their residence. That's how it works in Greece. Greek citizens living abroad or foreign citizens, either Greek nationality or not, should register themselves to the foreign tax office with proof that their residence is not in Greece but in another country. This is very important in order to avoid double taxation in both countries. Because we also have many Greeks also that have left Greece and are living abroad now, or many of you that have properties or have inherited or will inherit. This is very important to be done. In this way, they are given the rights for non-residents in tax issues as follows. All residents in Greece or non-residents of Greece who are not yet registered to the foreign tax office are obliged to declare their global income worldwide. I think this is also done in Canada also. This income, of course, goes under the double taxation system, which means that the difference in taxes are paid to the Greek government. This is what is going on in Greece now. I've given an example. If you have with 100,000 euro, okay, I have it in euros, income in Canada, with tax payable, it's just, the numbers are not correct. It's just an example. And if you pay 18,400 in tax, 100,000 calculated for Greece is 34,651. Difference paid to Greece with double taxation would be the difference. You would have to pay another 16,248. So I assume that this happens in Canada also. So the income that I make in one country, I have to declare it to the other country which I am a resident, and I pay either the difference if it's a bigger tax, or if it's a smaller tax, I pay nothing. They don't give you back the money, actually. Okay, non-residents who are registered to the foreign tax office are not obliged to declare their global income to Greek tax authorities. If they do not have real income in Greece, they are not obliged to do income taxes. So if you own a property, if you just own property in Greece, you don't have, and you have no income at all, you don't have to do yearly income taxes. Okay. No, that's not, that's different. That's property. I will try to mention later on. That's a different. I'm talking just the income taxes now. Okay. Okay. What income is taxed in Greece for non-residents? Which I think this is very important for everyone here. Declared as a non-resident in Greece and registered to the foreign tax office, the only income taxed is Greek pensions. If someone is receiving a Greek pension from Greece. Rents from properties in Greece, including Airbnb, under certain conditions. Until last year, it was not taxed and it was not declared, but now the laws have changed, which I will also explain later on. Dividends, royalties, interest collected, expenses that can be covered by the import of foreign exchange. I had a case that someone was paying an interest on a loan and was not showing the proof of the import of the money, and he got taxed on the loan that he was paying. Taxable rates are the same for residents and non-residents. Each category of income is taxed separately, so it's not accumulated. I think in Canada everything is accumulated and you have one tax rate. That used to be some years ago in Greece, but every year we have different tax rates, different scales, different ways of taxing. The last 2 years have been the same, thank God. And deductions and allowances are not applicable to non-residents. Okay, I would like to explain global taxation and what it means and how it works for Greece. Because this is very important to understand from now on, and I think it affects everyone in general, and us in Greece and here in Canada. Tax resident in 2 countries. I'll try to make 2 examples. Greek Canadian is a permanent resident of Canada, has a Greek tax number and a Canadian. Registered at the local tax office in Greece and in Canada. Greek authorities consider him a Greek tax citizen because if you don't tell them that you are non-resident, they assume you are a Greek citizen. Canadian authorities consider him a Canadian tax citizen because you live here and you're taxed here. Obliged to declare all his global income to the Greek authorities, and you're obliged to declare all your global income to the Canadian authorities. And here there's a problem. Will be taxed globally in both countries. This is the conflict that will be happening in the future. So it's very important that we register ourselves as a non-resident in Greece. Tax resident in one country. This is how it works. Greek Canadian is a permanent resident in Canada, has a Greek tax number, but it registers as a non-resident at the Greek Foreign Tax Office, registered as a tax resident of Canada. Greek income is only taxed in Greece and not obliged to declare global income. So you're only taxed for your income in Greece. Obliged to declare all global income only in Canada. Okay, using the treaty of the double taxation between Canada and Greece, is taxed the difference, if any, for global income only in Canada, which also works for Greece. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Online income tax filing. This is something that has really been the past few years. All individuals that obtain a tax number are obliged to use the internet online tax system by using a unique username and password. So everything is done online in Greece. All transactions are done by submission through the internet online. Filing of income taxes, filing of property taxes, filing of rental leases. If you rent a lease, if you have income from leases, you have to go online and declare the lease, and then the other person that you're renting to has to go in and accept the lease online through the tax office. It's not, you can have one with signatures, but it doesn't count anymore. It has to be declared online, and the other person has to accept it. What is automatically updated and appears in your income tax returns. Income from wages, salaries, and pensions, they're automatically uploaded now, so when you go to your income taxes, they already know what you're making. Income from capital gains, interest and dividends, the banks also are obliged to inform them automatically what you have. Interest paid on loans and the interest on your loans. If your cards, whatever cards you own, also appear automatically. And with any withholding taxes. So everything is done and controlled online, which is something very, very different and new. And I'm not sure if it's done in Canada at the point that it's done in Greece. Okay. So this is something very new. Now, the property the filing of property and income taxes. This is the epsilon linéa. Property tax returns epsilon linéa. The declaration of ownership of property is the NFIA, that we called it now. The obligation of filing property tax returns has every individual, resident or non-resident, or entity that owns property in Greece. Property ownership tax is paid every year, but the rates are much lower than they are here in Canada, that I know. The tax consists of two elements. The main tax, which is calculated according to the size, location, zone, price, surface, age, use, and other characteristics of the property. So it's not just 2% or 3%. It's done by the tax authorities, and it's sort of difficult to actually say that this property is 3%. I don't know how it works in Canada, but this is how it works in Greece. And there are also additional taxes imposed on property with assessed value which exceeds 200,000 euro. The tax rate ranges from 0.1% to 1.15% from the assessed value.
Irene, if you default on that, can you sell your property? You know those documents that you said you need to have in order to sell your property? Is the epsilon linéa part of that?
Yes, yes. The epsilon linéa has to be, and I say it in my next slide, it's very important to have your property updated correctly through the epsilon linéa for the last 5 years. So everything has to be updated for the last 5 years and paid also. Unless you do so, you will not be able to buy or sell property, inherit, donate, transfer to siblings, rent property. Documents needed as proof of ownership to be able to file an epsilon linéa is contracts of property, wills, property site plans, certificate of property. And every change you have, you only have 1 month to be able to make the change. If you don't do it, you have a penalty fee. So in 1 month, if I make a change, either I buy something or maybe I change, transfer it, I have 1 month to inform the tax authorities. Now, in these days are the taxes and collection and non-collection of rents in Greece. Until now, rents, these are the income brackets. So from 0 to 12,000, we have 15% tax. From 12,000 to 35,000, it's 35%. And over 35,000 in income, it's 45%. And this doesn't have to do with your income tax. It's a different income bracket. Rents that owners have not been able to collect from their tenants can be declared separately in their tax returns in order to be exempt from the additional taxation, because until now, what would happen, even if you didn't collect the rent, you were taxed on it. In order for tax exempt to be valid, a relevant judicial decision against the tenants must be issued until the date of submission of income tax. If you don't do that, you're obliged to pay the tax, even if you haven't gotten the rents. Our next topic, taxes on interest collected in banks and the declaration of them to tax authorities. Income from interest is subject to tax at the rate of 15% that exhausts the tax liability in case the beneficiary is an individual. All income from interest rates are automatically reported from the banks to the tax authorities. If the income from interest is over 12,000 or added to additional income, which exceeds the amount, then it's subject to an extra tax, solidarity contribution tax, which is calculated by a scale of 2.2 to 10%. This is an extra tax which is for all your income, and it's usually paid extra. Now, my last subject is Airbnb declaration and yearly taxes. Since Airbnb until recently was not declared and everyone had the income as just putting in their pockets, to say it a little bit more nicely. So Now, these are the new regulations. A short-term residential rental is defined as the renting of immovable property through digital platforms for a specified duration of less than 1 year, and with no provisions given during the stay, but only on arrival, bed sheets, and cleaning. That's what defines a rental as an Airbnb. Short-term rental is not allowed for more. This is very important for many of you that maybe want to do Airbnb or are doing Airbnb. More than 2 immovable properties per tax registration number for each income beneficiary. That means that if I have 5 properties, I can only rent 2 of them for Airbnb. The rental of each property must not exceed 90 days per calendar year, and for islands of less than 10,000 inhabitants, 60 days per calendar year. One can exceed the duration of the previous paragraph if total income does not exceed 12,000 yearly, which means there's also a limit on the income. It's only 12,000 euros yearly. Each property must be registered and given a short-term leasing tax number and provide the website it is on. That means that each property has to be registered and we get an ID tax number for each property. We have to register it on the website. One must declare an administrator for each short-term leasing property on the TaxNet platform. That means that it doesn't have to be myself. If I own a property, I can say that someone else can be the administrator. Declarations of rentals to the tax authority must be done every month until the 20th of the next month for the previous. So every time, if I have rentals in December until 20th of January, I have to declare them. This happens every month now. And the taxation rates are exactly the same as the rental that we had, which I saw at the property. Now, you're going to ask me, what happens if I want to do something more? If I have 5 apartments and I want to rent them? That means that I have to open an entity, make a corporation or a company, and I'm not allowed to rent them.